Okay, we can begin the class now. We still discuss the book, The Foundation of Buddhism, written by Rupert Gethin, and we come to the chapter 7, The Buddhist Path. I think last time we have discussed on the page 181, the signs and the stage of joy. Basically mean all the hindrances and limbs of dhyana. Basically means about the stilling the mind meditation. So, if you haven't really, if you were not here last week, so please go back to the website. I don't know which website. I think it's my website, and you go to the website and have a review because it certainly have a direct connection to what we are going to talk now. So, maybe just this generally means when we say about the practice of meditation. So, and I guess you could just read through page from 174. And then the basic principle of Buddhist meditation certainly is about, of course we use a term called a bhavana, but you could understand as mean you bring thing into existence. But of course we usually translate it as mean the practice only, or cultivation. So in Chinese you 修行嘛, but actually literally mean you bring something into existence. And of course, and then we know that we have the tradition, so we have two ways or different ways to practice what we call say that maybe nowadays we like to use a term called meditation. So you have one is called the calm meditation, called the samatha, and the other called the insight meditation, called the vipassana or vipassana. So we just finished discussing the samatha. Not yet we finished, but we have kind of rudimentary understanding what is a vipassana is about. Here translate as on the page 176 called the stilling the mind. Okay, and then so we understand that even in the stilling of mind you have kind of the stages. There are different methods there. So to practice this, and the different method is that sometimes even in the commentary or traditionally that a different method is ascribed to a different kind of personality. And but that doesn't mean that if you don't belong to that person, you don't practice that. But I just mean, it's usually the teacher, according to the commentary, will observe the students, and then they will start. If the person's like have anger issue or always not happy, then you have to practice, let them to practice like 4 immeasurable mind meditations. If they have this problem with the focus issue, and then you practice with the breath meditation. If they have the issue of the lust issue, and then you practice of what we call impurity meditation, and so forth. And that's why totally usually we say that there are 40 types of meditation objects to practice for the stilling the mind. And then also by that also, then we also understand actually to do the meditation, also stilling the mind is very important. It's actually to subdue the 5 hindrances. Okay. The hindrances, the subdued hindrances, in order to gain the limbs of the dhyana or the jhana. The limbs are kind of factors of the jhanas, to gain the jhana factors. Okay, we haven't go to that detail yet, but at least we know the limbs of the dhyana usually is very clear. You have the vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. Those are the 5 limbs of the dhyana. So, and we have talked about that also. And then also, then in order to reach the site and the state of joy, or you basically mean you reach a stable site, a stable kind of meditation, then here on the table 5, give it 2 ways that mentioned in the Theravada tradition, and 1 way mentioned in Asangas of the tradition. So Asanga tradition, they mention about the 9 stages of mind. It's very famous if you practice that. But in the Theravada tradition, so usually based on the site, you have 3 kinds of site called preparatory site, acquired site, and counterpart site. And or if you based on the joy, then you have slight joy, momentary joy, descending joy, transporting joy, and suffusing joy. So that then once you reach that kind of stage, they all serve the same purpose. Then you come to the what we call the stable form of the concentration called the access concentration. Okay. Anyway, of course, this is just a very how to say fundamental or very important sketch, of the meditation system in Buddhism, particularly for the stilling the mind system, or called the samatha, or the concentration system. Now we come to still have the further discussion on, then you have the stages of the dhyana. So the dhyana is just not only just access them, but you have the stage of the dhyana. And everyone know what I'm talking about now, right? If you are not clear, please raise your hand, you can ask. Okay, the dhyana in Chinese called chana, okay? So, and then you have these stages of the dhyana. Please, when you learn English, you definitely have to remember this term, dhyana or jhana. Don't try to translate, because it's very clear if you translate, we know you don't know what's the exact meaning. Some word you just leave it untranslated. You don't translate the word Jesus. You don't translate the word God, do you? When I say that mean, it could be invented somehow, whatever the original term, and that the term carry, actually they have a specific meaning there, okay? Those terms you cannot translate at all. You just know it carries a certain meaning. What does it mean? So the stage of dhyana, okay, now let's just start there first. On the page 184, on the 4th paragraph, okay, under the subtitle, the stages of dhyana. Yeah, you want to begin to read it? Yeah.
Okay. The initial attainment of meditative absorption, or dhyana, is characterized by the presence and balancing of 5 mental qualities, the limbs of dhyana. But this initial attainment can be further refined. The process of refinement seems once again best understood by reference to some such process as that of learning to play a musical instrument. In the initial stage of competence, the mind will still have to pay attention in the way described above. It will have to think consciously what to do. However, as once the facility develops, the process will become increasingly automatic and unconscious. That is, the concert pianist does not have to think consciously where to put his hands or how to place his fingers. She just does it. Nevertheless, he is still fully aware of what he is doing. In much the same way, it seems that the meditator becomes able to attain states of concentration by simply adverting to the object of meditation. Attaining to states of concentration in this way without application of thought or examining is the characteristic of the second dhyana, which thus has only 3 remaining limbs of dhyana: joy, happiness, and one-pointedness of mind. From here, the state of concentration can be further refined. Joy is experienced as something that in itself can disturb the mind. With the subsiding of joy, one attains the 3rd dhyana. In a similar manner, the meditator eventually lets go of happiness too, and finally attains the 4th dhyana, the state of purified equanimity and balance.
All right, next one.
The 4th dhyana represents something of a turning point in the theory of the Buddhist path. In attaining the 4th dhyana, the process of stilling and calming the mind is essentially complete. Although the theory allows for the further refining and stilling of the mind in the meditative attainments known as the 4 formless arupa attainments. These are presented as essentially modifications and refinements of the 4th dhyana. The 4th dhyana also forms the basis for the development of various meditational powers, the Riddhis, Pali Iti, or higher knowledges, Abhyana. The meditator is able to produce mind-made bodies.
All right, next. Yeah.
Being one, he becomes many. Being many, he becomes one. Unhindered, he passed into an invisible state, through house walls, through city walls, and through mountains. As if through space, he goes down into the earth and comes up. As if through water, he goes over foam water. As if over earth, he travels through the sky cross-legged, as if he were a bird with wings. He touches and strokes with his hand and the sun and the moon. He has mastery with his body as far as the world of the Brahma.
Oh, he has knowledge, yeah.
Or he has knowledge of distant sounds, knowledge of the state of others' mind, knowledge of his own and others' past life.
Okay, next one.
The place of the various meditational power in Buddhist practice is a question of some dispute. Sometimes it is suggested by scholars that these powers are regarded as entirely peripheral or even disparaged in earliest texts. There is no real evidence for such a view. In fact, although it is quite true that both the earliest texts and the later manuals do not present the meditational power as an essential or necessary part of Buddhist practice, they nevertheless regard them as useful complements to the meditator's practice that may facilitate his practice of the higher stages of the path. More significantly, with the attainment of the final goal of awakening, skill in the meditational powers become a means for teaching and helping others. We thus find stories of the Buddha and his awakened disciples using their ability in meditational power to aid others in the practice of the path. In other contexts, they are simply presented as a natural byproduct or consequence of the practice of calm meditation. Stories of such meditational power are everywhere part of the Buddhist tradition. They are told of the tantric siddhas of Tibet and of the modern saints and practitioners of the Southeast Asia.
Okay. Isn't everybody understand what he's talking about?
This means as some meditator attend fourth dharana, he can definitely have this power.
No.
So what kind of condition he could have?
What kind of power? There are so many of it. If you want to count it in the Buddhist text, there are more than, I don't know, there are so many, innumerous. Which power are you referring to? But I guess since we're talking about a power, we need to understand here. They say that it's mentioned, or they were just only because some dispute that there was not the important case. How to say not important? What did he say? It's no rare evidence for such a no. What is that? He say. In Buddhist practice, it's a question of some dispute about the power, meditational power, I guess. But now we have to understand, even though now in the modern time or whatever people say something, but we still based on the original text or even the old manual, how they understand that. But of course, they are not going to deny the existence of the power. But what I guess. But I mean, it's not like what people think. It's the Buddhism really against it. But in a way, but of course, the Buddhism didn't even say anything much like because you have a power, you're powerful. Definitely, it's not such a case. It's just kind of here I did mention is kind of like it facilitates the practice of. It might be helping the practitioner, to by helping themselves, helping the other a little better. That's it. Yeah. But why I want to say that because in my understanding in our culture. People, they think that when the people have the power, I mean they are very, very, really powerful. But here I actually want to tell you, if you have a jhana, maybe some people, or whatever reason, they might have the power. It's nothing to do with the sainthood, or some people are really very advanced in the morality. It's just because they're able to, in a certain time, they have a jhana or something like that. So that, of course, in the jhana, you definitely have a good morality, but that's why you have this sort of, that's kind of certain kind, what we call riddhi, the power will just might come along with you. Yeah. I hope that this power is not a big topic to talk about. I know a lot of people might be more curious, but I guess I don't know whether you understand what the stage of dhyana, because here, when you read through this one, the stage of dhyana, I don't think easily for people to understand what they talk about. It looks like nobody have a question about this. And nobody think, okay, we don't have to know about that, but maybe.
It's important when you are in the first jhana.
No, no, not because whether you're in first jhana or no. When you study Buddhism, there is no way you ignore this part. No way. But unfortunately, I have to tell you, lots of people study Buddhism, they don't study this. But that is totally, completely wrong. Okay, I want to say a word: completely wrong. Completely wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. And okay, even you treat Buddhism as a philosophy, and of course that's fine. You know, another way you could just say, oh, you have no self and this and that. You know, but the jhana is unfortunately, if you look at all the Buddhist texts, the early Buddhist texts, even the later Buddhist texts, none of them all the time they mention all these things. You know, that's why I say this is as a basic, a foundation. You know.
You mentioned that dhyana is a way we have to complete. So,
Did I say that? No. I said to study Buddhism, you have to understand that what is dhyana is about. Yeah, the concept. Yeah. No question?
So if someone learn Buddhism or they actually practice meditator, learn Buddhist, the Buddhist can pass away, don't know about this.
Yeah, maybe. Of course, you could say that they don't have to know this also. A lot of things you don't have to know it, even you could just do your practice. But the problem is, what do you mean by the practice by that time? You could just say, I sit my whole life always sitting a few nights. It's a practice also, right? Does it mean that is included in the Buddhist context of practice or not? That's another question. Or you could also say that I don't care anything, but at last I believe I enlightened. So it's, I don't know, of course, nowadays I see a lot of places say that they got enlightened also. They can guarantee you become Arahant as well. I mean, this is funny part, funny, very funny, but it's good money, for sure.
I think we have 3 Buddhas in Taiwan. 3 people who claim themselves to be Buddha.
And the people believe it. It's so strange.
A lot of money.
A lot. You know, don't go to work. Do that. You can earn much better, but you will have a bad karma in the future. But anyway, maybe not this life. I don't understand, because if you understand Buddhism, this never be happen like that way. I mean, you know. Yeah.
Why? Because somebody who's enlightened wouldn't tell anybody else?
No, I think within the Buddhism we know that you cannot be a Buddha right now. You can be someone, maybe Arahant, but if you're Arahant, it's very clear you will not have any possession at all. Because any Arahant, just somehow by nature, he will never want anything. But that also doesn't prove that he doesn't want anything, mean he's Arahant too, but that's very clear, one point. Another thing is very easy, if you see that person was get a little angry, for sure it's not Arahant, because Arahant never get angry. You know. Not even just a little not happy. No, it's never happened with them. They might be you could see that they feel a little sad, but definitely they were not angry. I mean, sad mean from your point of view, you might be see here a little bit like mellow. When I say mellow, mean, you know, kind of not, what we call, they understand the suffering, but they don't necessarily will be like angry anyway. Those are so simple factors, so too simple. And we are not going to talk about more detail, even in detail that lots of things is impossible as well. I mean, of course, you could say you are the saint. Other thing is also, if you are such a person like that, you don't say that you are like this. Yeah. They only teach what they should teach. Like the best of the person, they say, I'm the best of the best. No, they only teach what they think the best for you. Okay. Right. Especially according to Buddhist morality, when you know that, when you say that you are like this and why you want to say that? You say that because you want the people to listen to you. It's a kind of, in a very deeper sense or subtle sense, mean you have the self. I am very important. Okay. And those are so simple. I mean, we are not going to talk even more further what the people say when the way they say it doesn't goes together with the Buddhism too. But that's another thing. That's more about theory or the teachings. But even as a very simple like morality, conduct, Yeah.
Bante, I have a question. This is always the part I'm most interested in the iti. How fast can you fly with this type of iti?
How fast can you what?
Yeah, it says with this.
How fast can you what?
Fly.
Power.
I don't know that.
It said you can fly.
This is very funny. I remember when we come to this topic, and then no, actually, I remember the topic when Rupert Gethin went to Taiwan. The guy asking, he said he could understand according to the Buddhist text say, when you want to fly, you must have few meditation object together. It's always shift together. And I'm not going to say detail. That you must change your mind all the time in a meditation, like he said very skillfully. And his question is asked, how long could he fly?
How long and how fast?
Yeah, not how fast or how long could he fly? I don't know. So I think according to this flying, I guess I asked. There was a time I asked a teacher and said about this practice of the iti about flying. He told me that according some of the master's version, he said that's the most difficult part to practice nowadays. I don't know. You could try and see and let me know.
I think I'll fly United. It's safer.
Then you won't get anywhere.
So those powers, you use it as when you do meditation or afterwards.
What do you mean by that?
I mean,
I don't understand your question.
when you meditate,
What do you mean by you meditate?
sit there.
No. Who tell you the meditation only sitting there?
Oh, I see. Okay. So you can.
I said that many times. There's no such a word say the meditation only sitting, right?
Okay.
But sitting is just only easier to begin to learn. Just like learning the book, sitting is easier to read the book. But what do you mean by understand the book? You don't read. You don't sit and understand the book, right? So no.
How is possible for someone physically can fly?
I don't know. Ask those people who learn how to fly. So next time, don't ask them possible. Ask them how they fly. What technique they're using, they could do that.
I mean, they are still human, right? But are they still human?
Well, I don't know, but I just want to say is definitely believe in Buddhism. Believe that if you practice like few years and not any disturb, just purely doing your meditation, but your aim is just only, let's say you want to fly, I guess. But of course, providing you have a jhana, if you don't have a jhana, there's nothing to talk about that. There's no way to talk about the so-called supernatural power. But you must have the jhana so that you also must not only just meditate because your breath meditating, that's not enough for you to fly. You must be able to meditate like the water element, any kind of element. And then also, actually, according to the manuscript, describe that you learning flying, you must firstly be able to transform your body. Depends if you have learned inside meditation, they have a technique. From inside meditation, what kind of state you reach, and then from that stage, how you use the jhana, and then from the jhana, how you observe your body is light, so light, almost like a feather. And then not only that, you need to observe your breath, your wind element, as the outside wind element, how the wind element can be become a stage to you, and so forth. There are some complicated technique. And first you have to learn how you levitate first. You must learn how to just go up first, before you fly, of course. So but for that, I have to tell you, I'm not surprised by that. But flying, it took more time to do. Just to levitate is, of course, it takes time too, but you didn't learn how to levitate first. And then, I'm saying levitate is not like you just jump down like that. There was other like this. Yeah, there was like a transcendental school, they do that. They jump and jump and jump. When they take the picture, it's always levitated. No, I was thinking about a levitator, I mean, they were just really, they could levitate it, okay? Yeah.
So were there other people there who observed this, or only in the mind of the person doing it? I mean, maybe they had some special mushrooms at lunchtime, or?
I think that I believe that if they want to show you, but I mean, usually, as I say, they don't show you, but sometimes maybe some people, they just meditate, they were trying, and then somehow the other people open their eye, maybe they see a little bit, right? It could be. Or maybe because that person will practice it by themselves, he didn't know that people are actually watching them. But in the regulation, they don't show. If they show, they have this kind of mind to want to show people, especially when they're on their stage, they're not really very good. That mind of showing, of course, would not let them to be a levitator, because their mind is still full of what we call not the impure mind, right?
Why do they want to practice flying then if they don't want to show people?
No, it's for many reasons why they want to practice that. I don't know why everybody want to ask this question. It's not my interest at all. But
Okay, fly back to town and eat lunch and come back.
Ready to go on.
Well, yeah.
no, I mean, your question is so strange. I mean, do you do all the things when you show people? I don't know.
No, but like.
No, tell me which one you do. I mean, some maybe yes, but do you think that you want to? I don't know. Maybe you do a lot of things you don't want to show people too, right?
I guess.
Unless you have this, what we call in English, called 这个暴露款叫什么？
Exhibition.
Oh, exhibitionist.
I'm saying the desire to like show off to people is kind of like not a very wholesome thought, right? Like then like the desire to like want to fly or have supernatural powers, is that necessarily wholesome?
Well, according to the Vinaya, what is Vinaya? Everyone know? If you don't know, please raise a hand. According to monk's regulation, the monk code. Monk code is like a list of the code, right? And then you have the Vinaya text to explain all this. Why we have this kind of monk code is there and so forth. Sometimes even they don't have to necessarily mention about the code. We might have to do with the monk value, the value of the monkhood, right? So there are many this kind of stories saying, certain monk, he thought, oh, it's a good time if I show my power. I go up there and just fly over there and take that down. People would think, oh, he's so powerful. So we all have to become a Buddhist. So he did that. And when he did that, but he might be with a happy mind told the Buddha and say, I did that, so I would kind of like, I bring a lot of audience for you, so that people will start to believe you. But then the Buddha scolded him, you are crazy, you are a stupid guy. That's totally very different idea. Because I guess, of course, the Buddha didn't say, he just only said he's a stupid. You really, he used a very heavy word, not like to a Buddha, Mao is a very heavy word, so you're stupid. Because, and actually that's the reason one thing that then we have kind of indirectly we have the rule that among that we don't want to show. But I guess for many reasons. One reason if that way of showing, so people who are actually are not really, because to Buddhism the morality is much more important than anything else. Then the people are only crazy about that. So, and then the world is full of what? People are competing, right? Oh, you can fly, then you can fly like you say, you can fly this slow, I can fly. Mine is like a Ferrari or what, how many horsepower. I can fly faster than you. I mean, do you think that's the point of Buddhism? That's what the Buddha wants? No, for sure it's not. But if you have the power, nobody say it's bad thing, So, yeah.
What wholesome motivations would people have for wanting to practice supernatural powers
No,
then?
I don't know what's your question. Still I don't.
Is there any wholesome?
Well, what if you really can fly? One day you saw somebody really need your help, they are in desperate. If you can help that person, why not?
Right, but you have to intentionally practice this for years to
But your practice is not thinking, I practice this because I want to help people.
Yes.
If they're in danger, I will try and help them. Then I become like a Superman or Superwoman. No, of course you cannot think it that way.
So
Huh?
why would they practice
I
that?
think on page 186, Professor Rupert Gethin has
Did they
mentioned
mention
that.
that?
I think it's kind of quite clear, like toward the end of the second paragraph. In other contexts, they are simply presented as a natural byproduct or consequences of practice of calm meditation.
So you're just sitting there and all of a sudden you're like, oh darn.
I think it's no, but that of course that's another topic because some people actually even they somehow they don't know somehow they get the how to say they get the what no I don't it they have a sense to understand how, like if you say that people can levitate it, but even though maybe they never learn other technique, but somehow they get a sense why they were meditating so good and they were just trying something that according to what other people say the technique is about, you know what I'm saying? So, and some they don't, you know, well. I don't know what you mean by natures because I guess, no, but it's not all come by itself. That's why I was not totally agree. I'm not saying disagree with that because by nature is very big to define by that. Certainly, if you have a jhana, definitely you kind of like if you want to, you could able to practice psychic power. But that's what the Buddhism definitely believe that. There's no doubt about that. But when you say by nature, it doesn't mean that everybody have jhana, have the psychic power. I'm saying especially the people have the jhana in a short time. If they have a long time, depend on what kind of psychic power you're defining. You know, some psychic power is just kind of like, maybe it's true, it's kind of like by nature is there. All right. Can we drop the psychic power one? What about the dhyana? The content of dhyana is more important than the psychic power. It's all right. Still, if you have a question. No, we haven't finished yet. We haven't, because I would just find it so funny. Everybody look like they understand what is this dhyana is about now. The stage of dhyana.
So,
What?
I guess my question is just like I've been thinking about this for a while too. It's like what like besides like naturally occurring, like sort of if you want to like achieve dhyana, you have to have like a kind of a wholesome mind. But like the desire to want to have supernatural powers and like actually like trying to practice that may not necessarily be that wholesome. Like I feel like it's a little bit contradictory.
Did I say that it's not wholesome? I didn't say that. No.
Okay. So then
I just say that you don't show to people.
it's just a
You don't use that as a kind of livelihood to tell people you have that power so that you get respect from that.
I see.
No, I didn't say that was you having a supernatural power is unwholesome. No. Of course, you must have this good quality in order to have that supernatural power. But then don't forget, I mean, it's very complicated if you go more detail. But some people, after they have the supernatural power, they can be, because then they feel very proud of themselves, right? But they still practice. They know how to kind of like manipulate that, because concentration still is not the inside meditation into Buddhism. It's just because you are able to kind of like you are able to, when you need that, you're able to make your mind in pure form so that your supernatural power can appear. But it's so very much to do with how you value this thing. For example, some people, if they feel this is not important, like for example, and I myself know that, let's say when the people learn dhyana and they don't, it's not important, that really to that person is not important at all. Okay? To the person, fight is important. This is the reason why, if you want to learn the system in Buddhist system, I want to tell, unfolded the best system of Buddhism. I'm talking in like early Buddhism especially. You have to take that as important, not unimportant. You have to take it really important. That's what I'm saying. But then you take it important also, it depends on what people, how the people understand why it's important, to what is important. Unfortunately, lots of this myth goes to the lots of people, And usually they think that important as because it could produce the supernatural power, which is, I guess, the Buddha is not going to deny, or normally we don't deny that they can produce a supernatural power, but we don't think that produce a supernatural power is the purpose of meditation. Okay, understand? Get it now? And which is might be not totally agree by other religion, but I'm saying from a Buddhist perspective, definitely is not. Okay. Okay. And because that's why I say very clear in the Buddhist community, I mean the Vinaya, it's said up very clearly. But then again, because since you came late, again here, because actually there was, in the modern time, a lot of people actually condemn about supernatural power. That's why the Rupert also right here to defend, not that we agree or not agree, not that we're saying that we are not going to define what supernatural power is, whether what. But according to Buddhism, it looks like it never happened the Buddha condemned the supernatural power itself. That's supernatural power. But it's only condemned because the way that they use the supernatural power. Okay.
Is there a very good reason or very good reasons people would have to spend years of time practicing supernatural power?
Yeah, I mean in old day of course it's very important. Nowadays, I guess if your devotion is very important to practice that. If you devote a lot of time, you definitely will gain that supernatural power. In old day, when you have the supernatural power, you almost you can see the TV, you want to look at what the people are doing. And nowadays, you don't need that. And unfortunately, also culturally, when you grow up, you have a TV, and the TV have different type of entertainment. Nowadays, you have YouTube, right? Always on that your iPhone all the time on the phone and look at the YouTube. So your curiosity about the world. Maybe I don't mean that presented I don't mean that presented in the best way, but that's how nowadays, I don't think nowadays when people devote the time. Because if from a Buddha's understanding, it's because our eye always now want the comfort, seeing something YouTube. That's why I'm saying, I believe that nowadays, unless you were brought up from a very mountain area, from the area you live very simple, and you have different value of judgment, right, or whatever. I think nowadays, even though you have, maybe you get the supernatural power a little bit, like you can see things, but you will not desire so strong as in the past, like the people. You don't care even, because you thought the YouTube give you to see things more. You don't need to put any effort, even kind of like just the money effort that you got the phone and have internet. But of course, then that's the difference now. What I'm saying that then in some way something is missing there. What? But of course nowadays people are really develop a lot, like their logical skill very well, learning logical skill. But the intuitive kind of power is started to lost. And also, unfortunately, even sometimes this kind. When I say intuitive, like you definitely right now you could see you don't have to base on those things, but that kind of thing even becomes suspicious to a lot of people around you as well. If you do that, I always joke: if you are very powerful, you can fly whatever. You might be disappear one day. The FBI have took you in research, and we just thought you'd be murdered, and actually, you never know, right? I always think it's very dangerous nowadays. I'm saying that you really not like. Like the stories say you could want. I mean, imagine you could go just cross over the wall, and even though you really could do it, you had to depict it as a magic, right? You could not depict it as real. If you want to prove the real, and FBI, everybody come to say, whatever, I don't prepare. I don't need 1 month to prepare anything. Now, just cross for you, look at what they did, what you will end up with. You never know, maybe Soviet Union will took you there and they need to train these people. And
Well, you've got to be careful because if you get on the FBI list, you're not going to get through TSA, and you're not going to get on United, whether you go or not. So I'd be careful about going there.
You will become an X-File.
I have to say, but in the old days, if you could do that, of course, it's different. And the king may become the CEO, and they were, of course, even now maybe the king someday like to CEO, but you might be disappear before that. No, I'm not joking. It's nowadays it's the world change also, and I don't know how about you. That's at least I think. Even though if I really wanted to practice and I want to make it, I don't want to make it because it's no use now. Okay, all right. But I still have to back to the jhana. Come on, okay.
Like yes. Sifu was trying to get you out of get some question out of you about the links of jhana. Anybody don't have any question about what?
It's all right. You don't have question. I prepared a paper. Luckily. Yeah. Can you pass? Can you pass down 2 pages? Then just a moment. Just a moment. Just let me just. Okay, please. Yeah.
So
2 pages.
In the third stage of jhana, the meditator eventually let the happiness go. So it is that he consciously do that or
Yeah.
just consciously? Why he consciously?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to explain this a little bit. Yeah.
I heard your mother is quite noted for insight meditation
Yes.
teaching.
Yeah.
Did she?
She might be
pass
the-
that on to you?
Not necessarily, but of course we will change our opinions. I mean, you know, she could be she's still a lay person, but she could be the earliest woman as a lay woman teacher this insight meditation in Taiwan. She would be the first one, I would say. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
how you became interested yourself, or is it?
No, I become a monk first, and then after he was kind of surprised why I become a monk, even not in the Mahayana tradition, but rather than I went to Sri Lanka. So, she was always interested in meditations, but somehow then she got a chance to. When I returned home to see her that time, you know, after I become a monk, as a novice monk, she told me she started to learn meditation because even in earlier time when after she do like a Mahayana chanting, and she used to sit there and do meditation, but she also had many experience. But when she asked some monks or some teacher, she was not satisfied with the answer. Usually ask her to change the thing, don't do this like that. Like. But anyway, somehow she learned meditation and she was very good at it. So that's how, and then, anyway, that's a long story. But somehow then she became a teacher in some way. Yeah. She's been teaching that many years already. How long? Maybe 20 years now, I guess, more than that maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She have a lot of followers. Yeah. All right. Now let's just look at this, the dhyana jhana according to Theravada and Sarvastivada and Mahayana. Actually, why I want to put it here, just to give you to have a sense of it, you know. First, actually in the Pali Nikaya, if you don't understand what it is mean, tell me, okay? What is Pali Nikaya? In the first chapter or second chapter actually in the Dhamma. If you forget, so like in the Pali Nikaya means, you know, in Buddhist, like almost like when you say in other religion you have like something like a Bible, right? But when you talk about the Theravada tradition, when you talk about what is the information that you have, we call that as a Nikaya because we have 3 Nikaya. One is called the Sutta Nikaya. Sorry, we don't have 3. We have a Tipitaka, and then we have one Tipitaka, mean the collection or the basket. We have 3 baskets. It's called the Nikaya, mean the Sutta Nikaya. Okay, and this the Nikayas, but speak of 4 jhana. But you must understand in Pali, or what we call the Theravada tradition. Or you could say that actually this tradition talk much more about jhana than the other tradition. So, and they speak 4 jhana, but in Abhidhamma they speak of 5, you know, according to one method and the 5 according to another. Okay. In other words, mean if you look at the Abhidhamma, anyone understand? Okay, no. 这太冷了，关掉它了。 Because you study Buddhism, you are not just come here to learn, practice meditation. So then kind of like you must know what kind of source you have, the original source. So you have the Sutta Pitaka, you have the Vinaya Pitaka, you have Abhidhamma Pitaka. You could understand the Pitaka would mean the basket, you know. So in the Sutta, usually Sutta you can understand as more like the earliest the source. So you have when you illuminate the list of the jhana, you illuminate there are 5 of it. We're going to talk about these 5. No. When you say about how many jhana there are, so they always talk about there are 4 only. Okay. But when you say about in Abhidhamma Pitaka, okay, and in the Abhidhamma, they also mention there are 4 of it, they also mention 5 of it. They mention 2 types. And they say that when it mentioned about the 4 type, that is because the Sutta Pitaka mentioned that way. But Abhidhamma like to say that in Abhidhamma way it should be understood as a 5 kind of jhana. Okay. Even though we say that way in Abhidhammas like this, but if you look at the Mahayana Abhidhamma, like the Mahayana Abhidhamma, like Abhidhamma Samuccaya by the Asanga and Abhidhamma Kosa or Vasubandhu, they are still belong to Abhidhamma, okay? But you put it more precisely, you could say they are not belong to Theravada Abhidhamma, but they are belong to the Northern School Abhidhamma, okay? Either what kind of school they are, fine. They could be Samitiya school, they could be like Sarvastivada school or any other school. But anyway, what we usually call as a Northern School Abhidhamma. So even they are still, what I want to say is that do not think that because it's Abhidhamma, so it's always mentioned there are 5 jhana. But they also actually said there are only 4 jhana. Okay, understand? Mm-hmm. Now let's look at the standard formula for first jhana. The word is Vivijjeka kamehi vivajja akusala lehi tammehi savitakan savichara vivekajang piti sukhang patama jhana. Okay, vivijja. Vivijja is mean Chinese usually is called yuanli. So vivijja, okay, but depending on how to translate in English, I translate excluded. Vivijja kamehi, so excluded from what? Excluded from the sense desire, okay? And vivijja akusalehi, tammehi, excluded from unwholesome thoughts, or you could say unwholesome dharma, okay? Then savitakang, accompany with vitaka, and savichara, accompany with vichara. So vivekajang, out of this seclusion, so piti sukha patama jhana. So the joy and happiness, then that is the first jhana. Understand?
But it doesn't mention that one-pointedness.
No, that's why I say that's good point, because according to Vibhanga, what is Vibhanga?
The heart is Abhidhamma.
Nah, yeah, it is. Please don't come to the Abhidhamma. You will be headache. I mean, but anyway, the Vibhanga here. I mean, of course, it's very resourceful to learn. When you say the Vibhanga, Chinese usually translate 分别论 Vibhanga, sometimes we say in English translate analyst or maybe
Conditional something.
No. Vibhanga is not analyst. It's just say the book of analyst. Okay, says the first jhana is composed of 5 factors. That's vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, cittasa, ekagata. Okay. Now, if you don't understand the term, you could write yourself. Vitaka we just mentioned mean applied thought. Vichara means sustained thought. Piti mean joy. Sukha mean happiness. Cittasa ekagata mean going one way of the mind. So usually we translate as one-pointedness. Okay. Or you could understand ekagata. Gata is as one one way going, okay? Citta ekassa, the mind is going one way. Or you could say the mind goes one way, or you could say goes one way to the mind, okay? Or usually we just translate one-pointedness. But I just wanted to say here, even though in the Abhidhamma system, usually we say when you're in the first jhana, you have 5 components. That's a vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, cittasa, ekaggata. However, if you look at the sutta, the earlier, Buddhist text discourse, in the Buddhist discourse, it looks like you don't have the cittasa, ekaggata. You don't have the one-pointedness mentioned. Okay, and then the Visuddhimagga means the power of purification. Okay, of course, the power of purification is one of the very important meditation manual written by the Buddhaghosa. He mentioned that although one-pointedness of mind is not found in the sutta, it should be included in the first jhana because it is mentioned in the Vibhanga. Okay. And then the Visuddhimagga also define vitakka as searching or examining, okay, uhana, because from the word, and vichara as moving along or moving around, anusancharana, okay. But that's very clear from this definition, if vitakka is a searching or examining, and then the vichara is the moving along or moving around, then you could understand they are still the movement or activities of the mind. So if they are still in the movement activity of the mind, so it is unlikely that, because since actually it's also mentioned in the text saying that because you have this applied thought and sustained thought, so the first jhana is like a water disturbed by the wave, right? Like a still water, but the wave can still disturb you. So that's the reason why the one-pointedness of mind looks like it shouldn't be put there. Okay, but in the Abhidhamma system, like in Vibhanga, say that the 5 factors that should be understood in the first jhana, so they put this one-pointedness for me. But in the Sutta Pitaka, in the Sutta, you don't have that.
Which one is closer to experience?
No, I will explain the experience later. We are just saying about, you must understand why I want to talk this, because when you study Buddhism, sometimes you need to aware, actually the sutta didn't mention the term, but in Abhidhamma, they do mention the one-pointedness there. You must understand that part first. We are not here to talk about experience, we are reading Buddhism, but if you want, we can just say what it is, content is about. But we just finish that first, okay? And in the second jhana, this actually usually you need to learn by heart, okay? Vitakka vichara nang upasama ajatan sampasadanang. Sorry, the X is wrong, okay, because that's a typing. Sampasadanang, okay, the X is without the X. Usually the end we put a dot below, okay. Jedaso eko di bhavan. Yeah, same thing, the X is wrong, it's there, because I'm sure that the typewriter is something wrong. Avitakang is also the X without. Avicharang without the X. Samadhijang piti sukhan tutiya janang. Okay, just like the word ang. Okay, X delete it and just put the dot below. So the second jhana is by the suppression of applied and sustained thought. The second jhana, which is inner serenity. Okay, inner means ajatang, sampersadanang. Okay. Sadhana is a kind of like you feel really peaceful, okay, sadhana. So that's why in internal you feel peaceful, which is unification of the mind, okay. Actually, jedaso eko di bhavan, okay, mean a kind of mind become oneness there, become one there. Without apply and sustain thought, born of concentration. Now there's one word here, born of what? Samadhijang, mean the concentration born out, and which has a joy and happiness. Okay, understand? Mm-hmm. Okay, but notice that when the Vikampa say that the second jhana is composed of 4 factors, what? The sambasada, that means the inner peace. Okay, piti, sukha, and citta ekaggata. Okay, you will find that in the Abhidhamma system, you have they say the same thing. You have this serenity, or you could say the internal peaceful, okay, sampasada. You have piti, mean the joy, and you have sukha, mean happiness. But here, they also mention there's one-pointedness, okay? Get it now? And then third jhana, what is the third jhana? Piti ja viraga upekha ko ja viharati. And the person stays in the equanimity, okay? Without or removed what? Remove the piti, okay? And then develop something up called sato, mean mindfulness. Ja sambhajano, and what we call the comprehension, okay? They develop this sati, sato, ja, sambhajano, mean the mindfulness and the comprehension. So the sukhanja kayena patisamvedati, they feel the whole body is joy, is not joy, happiness. Yang dang arya achikandi, okay? 那么 So that's why this is the noble one will ajikkanti, you could say, to think that way. Upekako satima sukha viharati. So I mean, he have this mindfulness with the equanimity, stay in the happiness. This is what we call the third jhana. This is the sutta meaning. Okay. What?
So, can I ask a question?
No, let me finish that first. This is complicated. Don't think that learning jhana is so easy also. Of course, you can just simply don't learn the text and just according to the teacher teach you. But I just want to, you must, when you learn Buddhism also, you must learn why learning the text is not that easy also. Now anyway, let's say the Vibhanga say. Vibhanga is Abhidhamma, right? Say that according to the sutta, there are third jhana, there are 5 factors. There's upekha, sati, sampajanya, sukha, and citta sekha gata. Actually, it's the same word, okay? It just, it should be 2 S, sorry. Citta se, S, Gitta. I think because you are not familiar with the language, so I have to write here, maybe easier. I mean the word citta. Sorry, citta. I tried say. It should be 2 S, okay. But it's okay. It's not a big wrong. But at least because there's no same word there, so you could know it should be either 1 or 2. So it means that according to the Vibhanga say, when someone in the third jhana, so they have upekha, they have mindfulness, they have comprehension, sampajanya means comprehension, they have joy, and the one-pointers. Okay? But then, interesting, if it followed the Abhidhamma way, but there are only 2, that is the sukha and the citta ekagata, mean the joy, and then the one-pointers. Okay?
Upekha is mindfulness, sati is comprehension.
No. Sampajanya is comprehension. Sati is mindfulness. Upekha is equanimity.
Okay.
But then you must understand in the Mahayana tradition, like the Abhidhamma, called Abhidhamma Samujaya, they also said, according to the third jhana, they have 5 factors. That is upeksha, smriti, the same word. Upeksha means equanimity. It's just Sanskrit word. Okay. Smriti means sati, the same word, means mindfulness. Sampajanya is the same word, sampajanya in Pali. It means the comprehension. Sukha is the same word, they don't need to say. It means happiness. And citta ekagrata, that's a Sanskrit, mean one-pointedness. Okay. All right. Now the last one, the 4th jhana. The 4th jhana, you have the sukhascha bahana. And then it means you abandon, bahana means abandon the sukhasa, abandon of, but this is a language, mean abandon of what? Abandon of the happiness, okay? And abandon of the dukkhasa, the unhappiness, or you could say suffering. abandon of the happiness, abandon of the suffering, buppe wa somanasa domanasanang atangama, and away from the earlier time. The buppe means the earlier. Away, atagangama means away. Away from what? Away from somanasa and domanasa. Away from the pleasant and how to translate that? I translate this may literally mean now. Mean the mind joy and mind suffering. Okay, that happen in the mind. When you see the X, because in Pali there's no X, it should be the wrong word. It should be the thought. Okay. Atukang asukang upekha sati bari suting jatu janan. So he reached the 4 jhana. How to say? Bari suting, purify, having the mindfulness of the equanimity because of purification. Anyway, maybe I will look at the translation, but generally mean, and then that kind of thing is, that feeling is no suffering and no happiness. Okay, that's the 4 jhana. But in the Abhidhamma, like a Vibhanga, they only mention 3 factors. Say that the sutta, there's upekkha, sati, and citta ekagata. Mean there's a one-pointness, there's a mindfulness. No, sorry, not one-pointness. Yes, one-pointness. The first one is to be equanimity, the mindfulness, and the one-pointness. However, there are only 2 factors according to Abhidhamma for the 4 jhana, that is upekkha and citta ekagata, mean the equanimity and one-pointness. But if you look at the Mahayana Abhidhamma, so it mentioned there are 4 jhana is composed of 4 factors. The same thing, upeksha parisuting, mean he has the purity of equanimity. Smriti parisuting, he has the purity of the mindfulness. Okay, atukha asukha vedana, just that is mean without the suffering and without the happiness feeling, and then the one-pointness. Those are the 4 jhana. All right, we take a break first. Please draw the map yourself. What are these kind of factors are there? And then we will discuss them.